Good evening. There's been a lot for this media room to get their teeth into over the last 8 days, but I suspect they're going to be chewing over today's top story for quite some time to come, because the runaway favourite, Ronnie O'Sullivan, the man who was tipped for a 6th world title and indeed a 6th trophy of the season, is out. And Ali Carter is savouring the taste of victory that has been 17 years in the making after a rather spicy closing session.
This is absolutely jumping, Dennis, this afternoon. That was a magnificent shot. It really was.
What a shot.
And he's Ronnie O'Sullivan 10-8. Oh, phenomenal cueing. Absolutely phenomenal cueing.
The pot.
Hey, she can Mr. Angry. Yeah? Thank you. Thank you very much. Very nice of you.
Alright, fellas, just play on, yeah?
Yeah, I'm cool.
Snooker, Ronnie O'Sullivan is produced here, right under the cosh. Still 2 frames the difference, but Ali Carter leads 11-9. Wow, that just shows you cannot lose your concentration. What a steal from Ali Carter. He only needs one more. What a shot. And Ronnie comes forward to shake his hand. It's taken an awful long time. He pats him on the tummy to say well done. And look at that, Ali Carter, after all this time, manages to beat the Rocket Ronnie O'Sullivan. And that's what it means to him. And in the end, he wins 13-9. I think he's a happy bunny.
Well, I know you lot want to get your teeth into something. Look, Ronnie's done me in the final twice and had the better of me. And I've been intimidated by him in the past, pre-2012. But, you know, I've been through a lot in my life. I've been through a hell of a lot. And I was determined that wasn't going to happen this time. And I haven't paid for a ticket to watch Ronnie O'Sullivan play. I'm here to win the tournament.
Oh, disappointed to lose. You always are, you know. Sheffield Crucible, such a great venue, great tournament, but you know, it just wasn't good enough over the match, and you know, Ali deserved his victory. You know, we had a shoulder barge earlier on in the match, and I just decided that I wasn't gonna bend out the way again. So we just kind of collided.
It's all tight in there, as we know. He's walking. I'm walking to the table. He's walking back, and I was looking at the table. And we've just rubbed shoulders a bit harder than, you know, what you normally would. And the heat at the moment, but hey, it's all fair's in love and war.
If someone's going to shoulder barge into me, what have I got to keep walking around him, tiptoeing and sort of, you know, do a little courtesy as if he's the Queen or the King. You know, sometimes you just have to stand your ground.
Nothing. He went, that was some shoulder barge, wasn't it? And I just went, yeah, thank you, sort of thing. And he went, you're Mr. Angry. So I said, thank you. And that was it.
You know, I don't want to dwell on it. It's not that important. I think you should just be focused on Ali. Played a great match and he's in the tournament. Just think of Syria. Just think of all these angry. Just think of all these terrible things going on in the world at the moment. Just sitting here talking about a shoulder barge. I mean, let's really get into reality. You know.
Everyone in the crowd. I've got a guy sitting next to me. Every time Ronnie pots a ball, oh, Ronnie, clapping Ronnie and everything. You know, and it just intensifies everything. And you know. But it was my day today. He's had plenty of days, and hopefully it will be my day again.
Oh yes, there'll be a lot of talk about the argy-bargy involved in that one, but let's get back to the match. How well did Ali Carter close out that match today?
Superbly well, considering the fact he's lost to Ronnie O'Sullivan every time he's played here. That was a tough match to win, because you've got not just to beat Ronnie O'Sullivan, you've got to beat the occasion, not the individual people shouting out. So it's not so much that Ronnie O'Sullivan is intimidating to play against, because you practice with him and everything. It's the whole occasion. The emphasis is raised. So that's a great litmus test for Ali Carter as to how he's playing, and I think he can use it as a springboard to better things in the tournament.
You can certainly understand the absolute huge outpouring of emotion that we saw from him at the end there.
Yes, the fist pump. Yeah, I mean, look, it's not boxing. You don't have to generate hate against your opponent, but you still want to not necessarily be friends with your opponent. I never like to be friends with my opponent. You want to have a little bit of, a bit of attitude with him. You're not going to be like, there's the balls. So therefore, it's nice to have a bit of that. I think it looks good.
Well, it certainly has given these gentlemen and everyone here in the press and media room a lot to talk about. Jamie Broughton, Hector Nuns, let's get your thoughts on this. There was a little bit of needle there, and okay, Ronnie said, let's get this in perspective here, but what was the root of it, and how was it received in here, Jamie?
Well, it was great entertainment. I mean, it was mind games when you watched it. I mean, he was under pressure, Ronnie O'Sullivan, in that session. Obviously, he fought back well in the first session. He won the opening frame today. He maybe thought if he put Ali Carter under pressure, he may crack. He's obviously not beaten him in a ranking event, Ali Carter. But, as Steve said, Ali played really, really well. And maybe he thought that little barge, and the little comment might just wind him up a little bit. And, you see often players are very polite to each other, certainly in press conferences when they speak to us. And Ali Carter, it was interesting the other day when he was talking about it's the Ronnie O'Sullivan show. We all know that. You don't hear many players say that, because normally when they say it, Ronnie turns up and, takes them apart. But today, Carter stood up to him. And, he handled the pressure and he played really well to close it out. And it was good to see a little bit of argy-bargy, wasn't it?
It sure was. Hector, this is good copy for you, surely.
It is, yeah. I mean, on the face of it, it's the title favourite going out, and it's a shock defeat, but that isn't really what people were talking about today, and I don't think it's necessarily what they'll be reading about tomorrow. It was very entertaining, that 19th frame. Ali Carter did make the comments yesterday about it being the Ronnie O'Sullivan show. A couple of other players, when they've done that in the past, have ended up, it's backfired a bit, and Ronnie has run away with the matches. But Ali saw it out today. As he said in his press conference, he wasn't going to be intimidated and bullied, and he really stood up to Ronnie today.
Well, when you look at Ronnie, he is closing in on Stephen Hendry's record of 36 world ranking titles here. But what about the long term for his chances in the World Championship now? How do you view that in general terms, Jamie?
Well, he's still a contender, and we've seen what he's done this season. But he was talking about afterwards, maybe he's been found out a little bit in the longer format, and he's won what he calls the sort of Usain Bolt event, which is a little bit shorter. I don't quite buy that. He's not in terminal decline yet, but obviously we've seen Mark Selby's great record here in recent years. He's not infallible. I mean, he's certainly, when he's out there, he's a contender. He keeps talking about the life balance he's got. And maybe that is the secret to him winning it again, because if he's not going away too down, obviously he is devastated to have lost, but if he's got a balance in his life, he's going to come back and still be fresh. So I wouldn't write him off, but of course the longer it goes on, the harder it becomes for him to actually to win that 6th world title. And I said to him after his match, do you feel like it's one that's got away? And he said, oh, well, I'm disappointed, but I'll go away. I've got other things. That hurts. He would love to equal Steve's record, of course.
Of course, yes, in the chase for Stephen Hendry's 7. But Hector, the number 1 and number 2 seeds have gone from the top and the bottom of the draw here. Everybody else looking at that draw now who's left here, for you, who assumes the mantle of favourite?
I think possibly, maybe a Ding Junhui, possibly. We might be looking at a first-time winner in the shape of Ding. Judd Trump is somebody else who hasn't won it before, and of the old guard, you've got to be looking at sort of John Higgins and Mark Williams as we stand. But a couple of players said to us, if Ronnie goes out, everyone's ears are going to prick up, and I think everybody left in the draw now will really fancy it.
OK, gentlemen, thank you very much. There's plenty for you to get your teeth into. I know you've got an awful lot of copy to write and indeed to broadcast, Jamie. Thank you very much, Hector and Jamie. All right.